mechanical parts. Join me as I welcome the Range Rover team.
Fix It Friday. Another wonderful Friday with the Range Rover Doctor and DJ Candy Vibes. Hi, welcome to Fix It Friday. So today we'll be grinding down on our L405, L494. So the L405 is practically the L494, they're about the same car. The L405, like we know, is the 2013 to 2022 big body Range Rover. Here it is, you can see it right here. And over the past months, we've talked about the L405 predominantly. We've talked about everything about the L405. Today we're going to have a recap because we're grinding down. We only have 2 more Fridays before the end of the year, and Fix It Friday is going to go on another dimension after that. So closing up on the L405, the first thing we talked about which is the best to buy. That was the first edition. So every edition of Fix It Friday is going to come up on YouTube as a separate post, and it's going to come from our direct feed. So our direct feed is the main camera in front of me right now, and it has all the good audio, all the good video, so you're going to watch it from the top. So for everybody that didn't join us, we're going to talk about everything we talked about the L405, so you can take it in a playlist. We're going to have a playlist for the L405, so you start from the beginning. So from 2026, we're going to have the L405 forum. So we might just refer to all the posts we've done and everything we've done, so we might not be going back to everything we talked about. So that's why we're going to put in the playlist. So the first thing we talked about was the best L405 to buy. The best. Basically, you can follow the same rules for the L494, which is the Range Rover Sport. And we talked about the parts, the best, where to get your parts, how to source your parts. And we talked about service and maintenance, which is the most important thing. We all know the buzz around the entire world about Land Rovers and the reliability and everything, and I always go like, they can be a bit of a diva, but if you know what to do, this is the best car in the world. They are the best cars in the world if you know what to do, which is preemptive maintenance. The L405 really stands out of that because of its aluminium structure, and it's modular. Yes, some parts can go bad. It's modular, but it's indestructible, fine as then when it comes to the final run. So it's going to outlive you. And we talked about the common problems of the L405, where we talked about the coolant loss. We talked about the Achilles heel of the Land Rover, which of this L405 particularly, and most Land Rovers, which is the coolant system, and of course the aluminium block. And we talked about how to keep your Range Rovers in tune forever. We talked about water ingress, we talked about the problems from the door. Basically, we talked about everything that can go wrong with the L405. And we talked about the cooling problems, we talked about the electricals, we talked about the suspension, and we talked about the steering system. So we talked about everything. So like I said, we're going to put everything into a playlist. So today is just a recap of everything we've gone through, maintaining your L405 and your L494, debunking the whole myth that Land Rovers are unreliable. Like I always tell people, let me just talk briefly about that right now. They are precision machines, okay? And yes, from brand new at times, I would say that, I'll say it as it is. From brand new at times, you have niggles with this vehicle, right? We've supported this vehicle for 18 years. Yes, 18 years officially, and up to 25, 30 years from the Range Rover Doctor before the establishment of the Nitro Automobiles and Range Rover Doctor itself. So we know the nitty-gritty. We know inside out. We know what will go wrong and what can go wrong. Yes, a little bit dicey with the newer models like we're going through with the L460 now, the new body after this, you know. You need a lot of people to report, this is what I've seen, this is what I've seen, this is what's going on. But we put all that together. The L405 has been there since 2013, 2014. So we know what can go wrong. So when we talk about reliability of the Land Rover, first of all, the most important thing, like we said, is preemptive maintenance. Then the second thing, if you want to buy a Range Rover, you know that you have to maintain this vehicle. Like I was telling a friend, let me just take a little contraption. Let's take a drone, the DJI drones, even the newer ones that have obstacle avoidance and everything and all that from top manufacturers. You buy a drone, right? And you just take it and toss it into the hands of a non-professional. And if it goes wrong, you just go like, oh, this guy that fixes electrical stuff can fix my drone. That's just an example of what people do with these cars. You do not expect maintenance to come from someone that doesn't know how to fix these cars. Any little thing will just set off a spiral of problems. The ripple effect. As little as a tiny broken wire can go kaboom into more problems. By trying to fix A, they damage B. By trying to damage B, they damage C. By trying to fix B, they damage C. And it goes on like that. So the cars, they are very, very delicate. They are very, very, they are precision machines. If you want to fix these cars yourself, learn about them, then you can speak to a mechanic that you think is not a professional and say, okay, this is what I think you should, this is what I think you should. There's no problem with DIYing. There's no problem with saying, okay, I think I can go around. There's no problem with that at all. But aside that, you need to make sure you give these cars to a professional. You don't just wake up and ask your driver, when do I think I can fix this car? And you don't just wake up and get a quote from Land Rover, from a dealership and go like, oh, it's too expensive. Before you do that, yes, you have the right to fix. Before you do that, do your research. Check the cost of this part. Check the cost of fitting. I'll give you an example. The original gasket of a Land Rover, as it applies to other cars, it's about, the very, very good ones, about $80. Then if you want to use the aftermarket Comitech and very, very advanced ones, $200. But the cost of fixing this gasket can spiral as high as $1,000, $2,000. So you understand what I mean here. So that is it. The maintenance it has to be effective. It has to be from a professional. Don't just go like, oh, how much is it? How much is it to fix that? How much is it to fix that? So I can just give it to it. That's where it starts. That is where it starts. And when it comes to maintenance, especially servicing, don't just go like, oh, I think the mileage is, don't do that with a Land Rover at all. Other cars are a little bit forgiving, but these cars, they're a bit of a diva and they are temperamental. But you see, as much as I say this, the reward you get from driving a Range Rover is unparalleled. You can never get it elsewhere. These cars are rugged, they can go off-road, they can go everywhere, and they are luxurious, they can give you that smooth drive. So that's it for the Land Rover maintenance. We talked about all this in our previous post. You can see everything, you can read and watch everything we talked about. We're going to post them on YouTube. For 2026, it's going to be different. We're going to have a Range Rover forum, and it's going to be open. So we're going to invite mechanics, we're going to invite end users, we're going to invite people from the dealership. So we're going to talk about tips, helps, what you've seen, what you've noticed. New gadgets, we're going to be talking about OEM manufacturers, accessories from Land Rovers, and all. It's going to be interesting. And on our 2026 shows, we're also going to have DJ Candy Vibes, music intro, performances from upcoming artists. Then we're going to have news from Land Rover. Talking about news, I have two important news about Land Rovers and also about, we are located in Lekki. So something we heard about Lekki, it's been on, the bus has been on, but I will share it here too. We're going to have practicals. Yes, that's the most interesting thing coming up in 2026. Every Friday, you move with us live to the workshop and we'll teach you something new. Every Friday. One thing new every Friday. And of course, we'll have closing entertainment, our Fix It Fridays, is going to be scheduled to last for 30 minutes. We'll try as much as possible to cram all that into 30 minutes, 45 minutes max, because it's interesting. We had people saying, okay, stretch it for an hour and all that. But time, we have to make money too. And it's a Friday. The workshop is always full. Okay, so that's it for our next forum coming up 2026. For 2025, our next two editions will be closing up on the L405. For today, we've had the recap, talked about everything we said about the L405 presentations. So I'm going to go to questions right now, and I have a question from Friday. It says, our Range Rover autobiography is overheating in 2010. Gasket has been changed and still overheating. So Friday, from this Friday, we said we're going to hit you as it is, right? So we've noticed that, yes, when you have a problem with cars, not just Land Rovers, and you say, okay, there's an alternative. It might be A, or it might be B, or it might be C. At times it's B or C. And you do the elimination method, right? We've noticed that with Land Rovers, at times it takes you around the field and takes you back. From this Friday, we're hitting it straight up, right? Which means we're doing the full as is, TSB, as Land Rover recommended, as is. That's how we face the problems, and that's how you take care of your problems. So if you have a Range Rover, you have a Land Rover, you want us to give you advice on fixing your Land Rovers, we'll give you the tips when we feel the tips is necessary, and when we think you need to replace and do the TSB, the Technical Service Bulletin method, we'll give it to you straight. If you want the elimination method, you can go around. Friday, basically you've changed your gasket and it's still overheating. You're going to check every other component, which is your radiator, your fan, the hoses, and if everything is okay, you're going to change your engine, which means your engine block is swapped. That is it. No, nothing else. And do not use an old engine block unless you're sure you're getting it from the full engine from a reputable supplier that's going to test your engine and make sure it's okay and tested and gives you a warranty. Then you can take it. Aside that, you're getting a new block, get it brand new. That's your solution. Amaka OTD car, Range Rover Evoque 2014 engine. How much is the engine for the Range Rover Evoque 2014 engine? For the Evoque engines, we basically make sure we only get our engines from our brokers in the USA and the UK, and we don't get engines locally unless there's by chance a salvage vehicle that we know, and God forbid we don't know that it's never happened. The Evoque engine 2014, you're talking about your 2.4 turbo is 9.5 million door to door, 9.5 million naira as at today, door to door, 1 year warranty tested. Next question from Instagram. I have a 2014 Range Rover Sport I want to sell. It's been giving me problems. What price should I look at? I'm not. You chatted from Instagram. We cannot give you a cost. We do not give costing for non-runners unless we have someone that wants to take your car as is. That's our 2025 and 2026 rules. We will not give you a costing for a car that's not running properly. We don't know what's going on with your car. You might bring it over, so we'll do a full test and give you a quote of what to do and how to put it back to form. Aside that, we can't. You either sell it as is, and that's for the brokers that might need every other part of it, because you just mentioned that give you problems. We don't know where that's from. From Abuja, when are you guys coming to Abuja? You mentioned December. Yes, we are still working on that. We're still working on that. Lagos, we had overflow. Lagos overflow. So Lagos is actually choking us. Lagos is holding us down from getting to Abuja. Plans are still, we have everything is on the ground. We have staff on the ground ready to kick to Abuja. But the new staff we trained, Lagos has pinned them down again. So we're still on that. We hope to be in Abuja last week of December. We are still pushing because we have a lot of people waiting. Abuja, sorry about that. Lagos is pinning us down. But Lagos is our route. So we have to serve. We have to serve the route first and make sure everything is done. So Abuja, please just give us this last bit of patience. You've tried for years. Last bit of patience, we'll be there. So to round it up, we have a little bit of news from Land Rover. 2 days ago, we heard that Jerry McGovern, the chief design head of Land Rover, was fired. Okay. Then first news came in like, okay, wasn't fired, he resigned, but everything we've been getting for the past 24 hours, then he was fired. On the internet, you might have seen one pink colored Jaguar that was everywhere. For me, I think that design is radical. It got my attention, got everybody's attention, but everybody kept on complaining. Everybody's already, on the brink. But I don't think the problem came from the design. So I don't think it's the design. It's not. Yes, it's the design head and all that. I think the problem came from the technical and engineering branch of Jaguar, not the designs. Those guys are beautiful. Yes, the F-Pace. I don't understand that F-Pace. The Vela platform that he shared, I've shadowed it totally, so I'm not too sure about the F-Pace. But then again, Jaguar, I think you'll have just stuck with your sports cars and the sedans. It's the same company. So you have the SUV, then the sport cars and the sedans. Jaguar has that sport car heritage. Stick to that. Don't try to go into every other person's niche. So Jerry McGovern is someone that I have to actually give that salute to. He's been with Land Rover for 21 years, and a lot of us might not know. Let me give you an idea of the designs that he has heralded, or he has actually headed. The Range Rover Sport, the 2006 Range Rover Sport we have here. This is the car that made Land Rover. Yes, the big body after BMW sold to Ford. Yes, it kicked off. Yes, the whole thing came up. But when they launched this vehicle, this was what saved Land Rover. This vehicle and the LR3. Yes, the LR3 was not McGovern. It was some other chap. The LR3 was some other chap. There's another designer with the LR3. I'm not too sure. I can't get that. Two other people for the LR3. But McGovern actually heralded or changing the LR3 to LR4 design. So the LR4 design upgrade was McGovern. And this is where it hits me. The L405. This was McGovern. Yes, Ratan Tata himself gave a lot of input for the L405. But look at this design. McGovern heralded it. So I don't really see a problem. Of course, the Evoque and the Freelander, and he did some things with MG, I think, yes. So this, a little bit of design in the L460, yes, a lot of design in L460, and the Defender, no. Think about it, McGovern has really, really tried. Everybody makes mistakes. And he thought about the Jaguar was drowning, so he wanted to revive Jaguar with a design. The problem Jaguar has is not the design, it's the engineering. I always talk about the B58, I can't talk about it much here. If they had put that engine in the Jaguar, the designs at Ace, and kept the SK Arrow design, like the one you have in the Vanquish, that Vanquish kind of design, and the Aston Martin, the B, that kind of design, Jaguar fits in. Jaguar beats these two cars because of the affordability and the racing heritage. So that's it. So for me, everybody's saying, oh yes, it's about time. No, I think McGovern out there is someone that has earned his respect. I give him a lot of respect. I will always respect him because his designs are flawless. You can't tell about designs until you see them over time. Look at the Range Rover Sport. To me, I think this is the best design ever. This is whatever came out of Land Rover that is not going anywhere in the zone. The classic Range Rover Sport design. So, news from Land Rover, McGovern is out. Trust me, I know he's going to kick back like Jeremy Clarkson. I know that's what we're going to get. Yes, the person that designed the LR3 was Jeff and Andy. I always remember those names. And of course, back to our own Lagos, back to our own Lekki Ekpe Express. So, news is that on the 8th, they're kicking out all the Korokpe. Yes, 8th of December. No more Korokpe. That's not to on Lekki Ekpe Express. So they're starting with, they said high capacity buses. This is called the Lekki Ekpe Bus Reform Scheme, but they said it's going to be the entire Lagos. So they're kicking out Korokpe, no more Korokpe from the 8th, which is a couple of days. That may not be unconnected or connected with the road rehabilitation, but they've stopped that till January. So from the 8th of December, you'll be using the Carry Card. Carry Card has been around for a long while. So you have contactless card, cashless bus. Wasn't that what the BRT had before? What happened? Okay, anyway. So Carry Card, I'm not too sure what buses they are introducing, but from the 8th of December, Korokpes will be assigned to other feeder roads. And they said, if you want to operate on this road, you need to bring your proof of, what's it called? Your proof, or you bring a vehicle and you show that it conforms to all the standards. So that's a tight one. I think even the Korokpe on those feeder roads, you have to prove it's going to be a tough one. So all these Korokpes, just like the Okadas, are going to go off the road. They're going to go into the feeder roads, Class B roads, out of Lagos and all. Let's see how it goes for Lekki Ekpe stretch. Let's see how the new high capacity buses work. But it's a welcome change if the Carry Card and everything does work. So Lagos is gradually turning into that mega city. So you can actually go transport through I think it goes to CMS or thereabout. You can go through all that route cashless, just with your card. And I'm not too sure if something happens to your card or something happens, there'll be measures for that and all that. Let's see how it goes. So news for today, Land Rover for us, our chief designer is out. There's a new chief designer. Somebody said he's connected with Oga from above. From India, we're not too sure. Somebody says it's connected to the Jaguar Type 00 design that is very, very pinkish. We're not sure about that. And for us in Lagos, Korokpe is out. Fix It Fridays! The Range Rover Doctor, DJ Candy Vibes. See you next Friday when we start our pilot edition of 2026. So we're going to start with the next edition. We're going to start the pilot edition. So we're going to have everything I talked about. We're going to have our music intro. We're going to have the music theme from DJ Candy Vibes. We're going to have upcoming artists. And we have our chat. We have our news. We have our workshop live presentation. We have our practicals and questions and facts and questions. Then we have our outro and Fix It Friday on a new theme. See you next Friday. Range Rover Doctor, DJ Candy Vibe.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Fix It Friday is DJ Candy Vibe. Of course, Range Rover Doctor. A quick recap of what I've done. Amazing. More extra Gara news from the Range Rover Doctor. Amazing. So hey guys, thank you guys for staying tuned. Popular music to play and signing out.
Nine years from my bed, I ain't no oil in my head. 10 years from my bed, all of them naked undressed. We know we the ball like this, we know we spend like this. I need money past me, slap up with no past this. I be king, we see.